Hello, this is Craig. This week we're talking about brakes. So we're going to start off talking about brake hydraulic theory, known as Pascal's law. Basically it's this: fluid can compress, air compresses, fluid doesn't. It gets more complicated than that, but that's kind of the gist. So let's talk a little bit about it. Let's talk about application, the purpose, and power boosters. Okay, master cylinders, we're talking about disc brakes and drum brakes on Thursday, different types of control valves, how brake systems work, etc. So Newton's law states an object in motion tends to stay in motion. Brake systems supply equipment to slow a vehicle and allow safe operation. And brake system operations based on hydraulic theory. So when you push on the brake pedal, you're building that pressure because fluid can't compress, and it's going to force this pressure in the system equally. That's going to apply down at the brake, either the caliper or the wheel cylinder if you have drum brakes, and that's going to stop that wheel from spinning and turning that energy into heat. That's kind of the gist of the brakes. But let's take a look at this hydraulic theory. Again, liquids can't be compressed. Force applied at one end of a sealed system results in equal force at the other end. It's actually equal force in all directions in the system. So this fluid pressure controls forces at work, much like your transmission, engine, a lot of stuff. So we use Pascal's law everywhere. Basically, it states force equals pressure times area. I know we're not engineers, but here's a picture. I like pictures. So force right here is equal to pressure times area. Area is equal to force divided by pressure, and pressure is equal to force divided by area. Yep. So force is what I'm pushing on. Area is the area that I'm pushing on, and this is the pressure that's going to be generated in that area. So basically it transfers my input to the brakes. So here's some basic components. You have the pedal you push on, a linkage that connects the pedal through a kind of a physical, you get the mechanical advantage, the leverage to the master cylinder, which gives you hydraulic advantage, and then that can go to a booster, which gives you a more vacuum atmospheric pressure mechanical advantage. And then lines and hoses that go down to the disc or drum brakes through control valves. Now the control valves we'll talk about is kind of what helps the system remain safe. Here's your picture, right? So you push on the brake pedal right here. It's got a pivot at the very top, and then you push on the master cylinder right here. So you have leverage this distance here, and then you got from this distance to the pedal, this is going to be your leverage multiplication, your physical, mechanical leverage multiplication right there. And that pushes on this plunger, and it's either going to go into a booster, which is right here, or right into the master cylinder. And in this master cylinder, it's got pistons that push the fluid down these lines to the front and rear brakes, respectively. Right here, this reservoir holds brake fluid because as you push the fluid down, it expands a piston down at the disc brake caliper or the drum brake wheel cylinder, and it needs fluid to replace that. So then the reservoir right here is what holds that extra fluid. And again, the key is right here, you have this mechanical advantage and hydraulic advantage. That allows you to stop your 2-ton automobile while sipping a macchiato from Starbucks and face spacing as you cruise down the road. No, don't do that. I'm just kidding. I've seen too many people. Okay, so linkages. Basically, we got the pedals connected. The rest of this I might skip because we're going to go to the main content. So you push from the pedal, the linkage, the push rod, it goes to the booster, to the master cylinder. And again, I'm going to show more pictures later. But as you depress the brake fluid is pressurized by the master cylinder, and according to Pascal's law, it's equally transmitted throughout the whole system. And then, of course, you have brake fluid, which is a special hydraulic fluid that is hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs moisture. But it comes in several different types. We'll talk again on the next video, the different types of brake fluid. But here you are right here, hygroscopic. It basically absorbs moisture. So you don't want a big jug of brake fluid. You want to keep your brake fluids kind of small. Yeah, you don't want to store them because it can even absorb moisture in unopened because it goes right through the permeable plastic that it's housed in. So here's the diagram I'm looking for. So when you push on the brake pedal right here, let's say you're pushing on 100 pounds. Okay, you push on the 100 foot-pounds right here in a 0.75 square inch area, and it goes through a system which is sealed. Pascal's law can't compress. It transfers that pressure over to a 3 square inch output on this piston right here, which the end result is going to be 400 pounds. So you're taking 100 pounds and you're turning it into 400 pounds. It's pretty crazy. You're not even pushing in 100 pounds. You're pushing in less because you have this leverage mechanical advantage right there, and even maybe a booster. So again, you're pushing in less than 100 foot-pounds. But that's what's going into the master cylinder. It's got 0.75 square inches right there, and then that goes through the whole system, and it's going to multiply that up to 400 foot-pounds. And again, that's pretty impressive. So if we take a look, let's see, we get, let's figure out doing the math on my phone real quick. So according to Pascal's law, force equals pressure times area. This 100 foot-pounds and 0.75 square inch diameter right here is going to equal 133 pounds per square inch in this system. So when that 133 pounds per square inch pushes on a 3-inch square piston over here, it equals 400 pounds output. Now the trade-off is this piston has to travel far, and this piston doesn't travel very far at all. So there is a little trade-off, like everything else in engineering. There's pros and cons, right? And again, then you have the booster, which helps give you more mechanical advantage. Basically what happens is when you push in through the booster, it's going to allow atmospheric pressure to come in behind it and engine vacuum on the front of it, and it kind of helps apply pressure to the master cylinder with you. So pretty neat. And brake systems, let's see here. I'm going to skip that. I'll go to metering valves. I'm going to skip to the picture. I like pictures. Here's the pictures right here. Okay. So here's a combination metering valve. Basically, these are, I guess you could say old school, but it's a good thing to learn how the systems work. So you have the system divided either front, rear, or diagonal. So like right front, left front, right rear. And the reason why they do this is in case you have a complete brake failure. So if you have a line that fails and your system wasn't divided or split, your pedal would go to the floor and you have no braking because the fluid would just all rush out the hole. And remember, Pascal's law, can't compress. But if you have a hole, it's not going to build pressure. So it just go right out that hole. So they split these systems up, either left, right, or diagonal, so that if you have some system failure, like a line piston leak or something just didn't work anymore, you have the other half system still working. Now, of course, your brake pedal will still go way down, if not all the way to the floor, but you're going to have some braking from the system that's good. Now, this combination valve consists of a metering valve, a pressure differential valve, and a proportioning valve to give it its name, the combination valve. Well, here's what they do. So the metering valve, right here you have, this is going to basically, for like vehicles that have disc in the front, drum in the rear, you're going to have to kind of meter that pressure because the drums, they need a little bit more time, I guess, to expand the springs the way the drum works. Hard to explain without a picture. We'll talk more about that Thursday. I'll show you the picture. But there's a lot of springs to overcome, so there has to be kind of a metered pressure from the front to the rear or delay. The proportioning valve is going to allow, some of them are adjustable on the right here. This system is going to change, kind of give you different pressure from the front to the rear, because that's going, let's say you're driving like a pickup truck, got a light rear end bed, nothing in the back, and you slam on the brakes, the rear will lock up and the front won't, because the front, let's say, is disc and the rear is drum, and the rear has no weight in the bed. It was designed to have weight. All these things play into account, and then it can lock up the rear end. You can be fishtailing, jackknifing, trailer, all kinds of bad things. So you have a proportioning valve that's going to accommodate those pressure differences from the front to rear. And the metering is kind of like a delay so that it can allow the springs in the drum to engage before the disc brakes, apply braking. Now the difference in the middle, the pressure differential valve, what this system does, this ramp and this pin, was if the front and the rear had some type of a system failure and it leaked, what that's going to do is it's this piston, let's say you have, let's go with a rear leak. So back here, the rear wheels leak, and I apply the brake. These top ones are coming in from the master cylinder, so pressure's coming in these top areas, fills this cavity here and here. Pressure being equal, this piston stays in the middle. But since this rear's leaking, there's no pressure buildup over here, there's pressure over here, so this piston moves to the right. what it's going to do is going to block off this area, this from the master cylinder, but it's also going to push this pin up this ramp right here, pushes the pin up, makes contact, and then that grounds a light, turns on a light in the dash, or sends a signal to a computer, etc. So this is kind of your combination valve, kind of in a nutshell. And again, we'll talk more about this on the next lesson when we talk about disc and drum brakes. But modern systems kind of do this with vehicle dynamics and electronically with ABS sensors, and we'll get to that later. This is a big part of the 60s and 70s when this guy is a big brass chunk block that was mounted underneath the master cylinder and booster, kind of on the frame, kind of underneath, just kind of underneath the booster on the frame right there. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. The next video we're going to talk about this brake overview, and then again Thursday this video will be on, or the next lesson will be on disc and drum brakes. So see you then.